Welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss the basic understanding of invoice or bill which we used in our day-to-day life. Let's see what Google has to say about the invoice. When you try to search what is invoice, Google tells like an invoice or bill or tab is a commercial document issued by a seller or to a buyer referring to the sales transaction and indicating the product and quantities and agreed prices for product or services the seller has to provide provided the buyer's payment term are usually stated in the invoice. Now, what is the history of invoice? Invoice is one of the oldest document which has been used in business transaction. As per the Google, the first invoice is around 7,000 years ago. But we cannot find the Xerox copy for that for sure. Now, once you see these documents, like we always receive or give the invoice. So if somebody asks us, like if we ask what is the invoice, the best thing will be, do you remember your last invoice? Like your electricity bill, your water bill, your supermarket bill. So invoice is the one document which everybody is using. But generally, when we see these invoice, we just try to see the numbers and make the payment and some of the service, some of the other information we try to see. Let's see what are the important factors involved in the invoice. The parties involved in the simple sales transaction, like there is a seller, there is a buyer, and there is a product and services. So basically, two parties are involved, seller and buyer, and then what other is in a thing is involved is the product and services. So basically, whenever you have an invoice as a document, you have to find out two parties, one is the seller and the buyer, and then what the product and services are being exchanged in that document. Now, defining the invoice in general terms, like when you see the document invoice, okay, what you will understood and how you will determine this is invoice. Like identity, the type of invoice should be defined like cash or credit. Like what it does, it create a business relationship between seller and buyer. It's provide the detail about the product and services which is going to be exchanged. Then it's provide the further detail of the quantity and the unit in which the units are going to be product or product or service is going to be exchanged. And then finally the term and condition which has been agreed by the both parties. Now, when you see the invoice, how you will read it? When we are mentioning how to read it, like you can read from anywhere, but there is a flow. When you see the any business document, like it first is give the identification, the stakeholder. Like first is the header area where you can find the seller information. Then the buyer information will be there. Then the invoice type and payment term will be there. The most critical one is invoice number, is the date and the currency in which the invoice is being used. Then the body area comes where you have a line item number, product number, unit, quantity, price, and total. And then after multiple of line, there will be total will come where we mention all the total in the alphabetic character. And at the end, there will be a term and condition which makes this document as a complete called invoice. Now, important facts to check. What we need to check: the date and invoice number, the type of invoice, the payment term, the other term and condition, unit and price, and the buyer information, and the most important is product and services. So whenever you have an invoice, any kind of invoice, you have to find these compulsory information, then only this document can be validated. So I hope you enjoyed this information. And there will be another video which we are going to create, like how to create invoice, like if you are developing a system or if you are developing an invoice for your company, which are the other important information you need to take care.